Alright, hey everybody. Welcome to another dissection of Fear the Walking Dead. Like usual, I'm joined by my buddy James over there. Today we'll be talking about Season 3, Episode 12, My Brother's Keeper. Before we jump into it though, just a couple announcements. Our charity is still American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Link is down below. Also, if you're watching us on Twitch, there's a link for the Red Cross with the hurricanes coming through, devastating both Texas, Florida, and now Puerto Rico. All those places can use as much aid as possible. I know a lot of us don't have that much money to donate to, but every little bit does help. And of course, if you guys can't donate, we understand that. What we can do to help us out is just to follow us, like us on all the social media, share our pages. All the proceeds from the ad services, links and stuff like that we're going to donate directly towards charity as well, so you can help out by doing that as well. We can't tell you guys to click on the ads like usual, but what I can tell you is that all the proceeds does go towards charity. So before we jump on in, James, how's it going, man?
It's going all right, man. Doing good on this hot as hell Monday night up here. About 90,000 degrees in Albany in late September. It's kind of confusing. So
yeah, you guys usually don't get that warm. It's like Alabama weather up there.
Yeah, man. I mean, down there in Arkansas, I can understand, but here this doesn't make any sense. And it took the air conditioners out about a month and a half too early. It seemed.
Jumped the gun.
I jumped the goddamn gun, but it's all right. It's all good.
I'm glad to hear everything's going right. You got your boys playing tonight, the Cowboys.
Yeah, this is the second consecutive Monday that I had a peaceful Monday night to myself, I guess you could say. So, we get to watch the Cowboys play, and they're trying to hold off the Cardinals right now. I'm doing my best not to turn the TV on and yell at them. So,
yeah. So if we see a freak out on the stream, it's probably because James is keeping track of the score on his cell phone or something like that.
No, I have to leave that alone, because you'll see the cell phone go flying and wake the baby up, and I'm not, it's a good distraction. It's just
Yeah, right. All right, man. Glad to hear everything's going well. Let's go ahead and jump on into our dissection over here. What were your overall impressions of the episode?
I thought, beside the premiere, I thought that, and we talked about it last week, that this is kind of like the mid-season of the second half of the season, mid-season finale, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. It was the best episode since the premiere, in my opinion. It had everything you were looking for. Last week, if you look back at the podcast, I kind of said that it was going to be Daniel Salazar, who was going to do this, who was going to, attract the herd and use the herd as a weapon of mass destruction against the reservation. And it came, it came 5 weeks or 4 weeks earlier, with Troy doing it. And you kind of got that impression that he was going to do something crazy because he's just out of whack. But it was a great episode. Jay and I talked about the zombies being a threat here. They finally are a threat again. There was a couple of jostling moments in this episode where, Alicia, Ophelia, and the other guy, they're surrounded several times and nobody gets bit. And they're not using the most, conservative ways of fighting walkers, and they still don't get bit. And of course, they make it into the food storage, the food pantry at the end. But other than that, this was exactly what we talked about the show needed. as a kick in the ass a little bit here, because they did have 3 straight episodes where they kind of went back to their old ways of, fans complaining about the show. So this is a great episode, and it just shows you that unlike seasons 1 and 2, the first half of season 2, I should say, they're kind of fixing themselves a little bit. I mean, of course, these episodes were filmed a long time ago, but they had to have looked at the drawing board, and they had to say, well, we had these 3 lulling episodes. Let's hit them with a very action-packed, cliffhangery episode, like episode 4, just to get the fans back on board with us. Because you have to look at the board, you have to look at the writers' board and see that episode, the mid-season premiere, the episode that followed those 2 mid-season premiere episodes, they were slower. So they had to have looked at that and said, okay, let's put this up here and let's see what we can do to prepare you for, the final 4 episodes of a really good and strong season up until, like I said, the mid-season premiere and the episode after that. So, I think they hit you, and, it was what we talked about last week, Jay. I mean, we said the zombies weren't feared. The characters were becoming a little bit too, conservative, tentative, and complaining and whiny in some of the big characters. This is the first episode we don't get to see Madison, which is kind of a breath of fresh air, because I don't want to see her every episode, because she starts to get repetitive. You don't see Strand, who actually I wanted to see in this episode, but he's with Madison, so I don't care that you didn't get to see him. Right. You didn't get to see that whine ass Walker. He's turned into a bitch. I don't want to see him, bitching and complaining and crying all the time. So you got to break from that. You still haven't seen Salazar yet. We don't know where Luciana is, but that's fine, because they had a strong episode. So now those characters can come in. We got to break from some of the, cliche characters and cliche character arcs. Now we get to see them again, hopefully, this coming week or next week, and see how they react to the herd attacking the reservation. But very good episode all around, man. So that's just my opinion on it. Again, this is organic. This show is organic. Jay and I did not talk about this, so we're gonna go right to Jay. What is your impressions of this? In my opinion, awesome episode 4, or second half episode 4.
I thought it was okay. I think some of the situations were just forced. It felt a lot like Alexandria, trying to make a stand.
Yep.
Obviously, they didn't do it as well as Alexandria did.
No, not even close. That's the truth.
Like the interaction between the 2 brothers, Otto brothers, and Nick. Sorry to see Jake go that way. I thought it was kind of anticlimactic. I like the fact that it was just a random walker, but at the same time, it was Nick that really killed him.
Correct.
And he couldn't pull the trigger on his brother. I understand, but I just didn't play well, I guess, to me. So now you have these 2, loose cannons basically working together as a team.
Right.
And, where it was like, so Nick doesn't want to, and they talk about this on Fear the Walking Dead too, or Fear the Talking Dead, is that what they call it? Dead?
Talking Fear.
Talking Fear. About so Nick chose basically, Troy over Jake, because he might see himself in that character, right? Where everybody else is trying to abandon Jake, just like they abandoned him when he was an addict.
Troy.
Yeah.
Trying to abandon. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's kind of like similarities there, where Nick sees himself in Troy, whereas Jake he doesn't see as any kind of emotional connection at all. And then you can see like the past connections between Nick and Troy, where they're out hunting for the boar. A little gun incident there where they kind of wrestle for a second, and there's kind of a mutual conversation. And then the same thing inside the house when it was Nick and Troy in there with the Native Americans outside. So there's some kind of bond there. But still, Nick basically killed Jake, for Troy.
Correct.
And then he was leading the walkers, the herd of walkers, using the grenade launcher. And then all of a sudden, like it was a time jump or something like that, where the walker's already at the gates. I'm not sure how they got ahead of them so fast. You know, or
I can answer that. I can answer that question right now. The beginning of the episode, uh, Troy shot in the air in the direction of the reservation, and when Jake and Nick were driving to go find Troy, the herd was already going into the direction of the reservation. They already, uh, like you said, it seemed fast, but if you looked at it, when they did get to Troy, he just finished it off with the grenade shot. But that's how I read into it. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's how I read into it. Just the fact that he fired the gun, and then when they were driving together, Jake and Nick, to go find Troy, Nick has said, "Hey, look, the herd is, it's going into the direction, of the reservation." I think the grenade shot was a little overkill, a Jocelyn moment there, but it was inevitable. So
yeah.
yeah, so it was inevitable. I think that was just like you said, it was theatrical. It was over dramatized. But I'll let you continue, my friend. I just wanted to put that out there, how I saw it, my perception.
I think it was close as far as timeline, but I think they sped the walkers up just a little bit.
Yeah, maybe Dawn of the Dead 2000. Yeah, Dawn of the Dead 2005.
What else? I'm surprised Nick didn't honk the horn or something to try to draw some of the walkers away from the place.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're gonna ignore a running, big rig for a beeping, alarm, maybe a horn would attract them all away from the people inside.
Jocelyn moment.
Yeah. Call back there to the previous episode.
Yeah.
But then again, the people had enough time to like mount a wall of vehicles.
Yeah.
When like the timeline, it seems a little off there. Where Nick radioed in, they're coming, and then all of a sudden they're there. But at the same time, the people had enough time to move the trailers and everything to make like a little barricade, which I think would take longer than 10.
And that's where
minutes.
I understand and agree your point there. I agree with that. I do agree with that.
And then the same thing like you, like you were saying, they're hand-to-hand combat and they're just swarmed. And besides for that one guy, he got a name in the show at least, but it wasn't the main character there. He got bit obviously, but everybody else somehow made it out. I mean, we're assuming that they made it out without any bites.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looked like a few times where it's like, oh, they're gonna get bit. They're gonna get bit. No, okay. Oh, now they are. Nope.
The one professional fighter, the one soldier there that can handle himself gets bit, but these three jackasses can't get bit. You understand what I'm saying? That's a Jocelyn moment.
Yeah, and then it's like if they turn around and boom, right at the door. It's like,
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Like have one get separated or something, or throw in a red shirt in there who goes down, some random person. It doesn't have to make sense. Kind of like with the Game of Thrones episode, where it's just like, wait, who's this random guy? Oh yeah, he's there as cannon fodder. Just to remind you, hey, you can die without actually killing like a named character.
Correct.
And it sets up for the next episode. Interesting situation being trapped in there, where it's like, sometimes the show does a good job as far as answering some of these theoretical questions. Like, what would it be like being on a boat? What would it be like only having one way out? It means you're safe, right?
Well, no. What if somebody got bit? What if somebody dies? What if what I'm saying? Yeah. Remember, this is a world where anybody who dies for any reason other than getting shot in the brain will turn. So
and I don't think it's gonna go well in there. I think maybe someone in there is bad. It looked like from the preview that they're gonna be running out of air, so which means they're gonna have to find another way out to clear something up. So that it's not a relaxation. They can't just sit in there, eat the food, and wait for them to leave.
Nope. That's true.
So it's interesting. It's definitely setting up for something. I did watch the Talking Dead part there, and I think there's a clue as far as who might die. I don't know if I'm able to
Yes.
share. Well, I'll save it for the end, so I'll let you guys know a little spoiler alert. Um, but I do think some people are coming. You have Nick and Jake still up there. Or sorry, Nick and Troy.
Yep.
I guess technically Jake is still up there too, just dead.
Yeah.
They do have Madison, Strand, Walker coming as well. So we'll see. We'll see how it
And
plays out.
And we're gonna have Jay reveal who they gave the hint on to at the end. I will remind him. But as you said, it's organic, and this show is organic. I thought it was a great episode. Jay saw it with more of a critical eye there, and after he brought some of those points up, and you heard me try to explain why the walkers were there. He argued his point, and it makes a lot of sense. It just didn't. I forgot about the trailers. The trailers, it made no sense. It's almost like the walkers were on the way there. Nick did call him, and all of a sudden time just stopped. So Jay is absolutely right. It's almost like the walker said, "Okay, we're gonna let you guys get ready, and then we're gonna come for you." And it was like walkers don't do that. So that's that makes a lot of sense there. I liked it because I like this episode. It's a biblical episode. A lot of these episodes are very biblical. Cain and Abel. Am I my brother's keeper? The episode is named Brother's Keeper. And like Jay said, it wasn't technically Troy who killed his brother. It was Nick, but in essence, it was Troy who killed his brother because he's the one who started this whole shit. And if he would have just, kept his cool, he wouldn't have. And it was kind of like it gave you a little hint on Nick murdering people in this episode. Nick was responsible for the death. When Troy said to Nick, "Are we really going to get going to being a murderer, Nick?" And he ends up killing, inadvertently killing Pete. So not Pete. What the hell? Jake. I'm thinking of Walking Dead.
The other brothers, yeah.
Yeah. But definitely you're trapped, and that's the one thing that The Walking Dead always had. I feel they always had a way out. Any situation that they were in, that they were the farm, CDC, they ended up getting out of CDC. They weren't really, it wasn't the walkers that were a threat for the first, CDC, the woods, the city. They always had a way out. They had a way out of the farm. They had a way out of the prison. They had a way, out of Terminus. They had a way out of Alexandria. It wasn't like they were in a confined area. Now, you're looking at a show where they are in a confined area, like Jay said, and you're going to run into who's sick in there, who got bit, running out of oxygen. Not only that, what about the hygiene part? I mean, if we're looking at it in a realistic point of view, but all these things start to come to fruition start to come to a head. But a great cliffhanger type of episode here to show you that the second part of the second half of the season should pick up. I liked it. Very good change of pace for me because I just did not want to see this show go down its old roads. And another thing that I liked about here is there are 3 more episodes left, they said. So you have 4 more episodes. That means we're going to get another 2-hour season finale. That's the one thing that Fear the Walking Dead does so much better than The Walking Dead. It combines the final 2 episodes and gives you almost like a mini movie. And I love that. So when I heard that, I was just like, wow, this is how they're going to stay on point before we get to The Walking Dead, but it also hit us with a 2-hour finale. That's awesome. I can't wait for that as well.
I think it's great.
So,
had they done that with like the Oceanside episode, going back to season 7, combine that with like an action-packed episode in the same night, I wouldn't have felt so bad about the episode. But it's just
agree.
I waited a week for this.
Yeah. And that was the failure of season 7 for Walking Dead was. They spaced out those dragging filler episodes.
Yeah.
And you had one filler episode and you had to wait a whole nother week for another filler episode. And it was like, why don't you just, like Jay said, take the Oceanside story, and when Tara said, I have something to tell you, make it like a flashback. and that would have made the Oceanside story that much better. But of course, they kind of dropped the ball there. I think Kirkman and Gimple understand what they did. I think that they just got too caught up in storytelling.
Yeah.
And I think Fear the Walking Dead took those lessons, and they actually, I think Kirkman said, in order for us to stay on the time constraints before the Walking Dead, maybe we can combine some of these episodes, and you notice that the episodes that they combine, it's kind of half filler, half action, half filler, half action. That's how you have to do it. And I think that they knock it dead here. That's the one thing that's better about Fear than Walking Dead, is they don't have those long stretches of time in between two very boring episodes. And they actually have broken the boring episodes up very well. So I think that this, even if this wasn't, in some people's opinions, the best episode, in my opinion, is, besides the premiere, this is the second best episode. It's still a much needed break.
Yeah. And I said a lot of negativity, but it's easy to pick apart something like this. I think them introducing, the horde or herd of walkers is what the show needs. I think the old style would have been the same story, but there wouldn't be any walkers in it. It would have just been the conflict between the brothers and the people in the town. And be like, oh great, here we go. Boring. But now the actual walkers, once again, being the main threat.
There you go.
And there's still the conflict between the two groups, especially now being trapped inside the same cage, basically.
Yes.
There's going to be some finger pointing, like who did this? Oh, it was Troy. It's your fault. It was your guys' fault for, yada, 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 conflict. So there'll be some sort of human conflict in there as well. But it is fun to see how everyone kind of, puts aside, their human issues to deal with the dead.
Yes. We had a ton of questions before we let Jay. Actually, you know what? We're not even gonna drag this out. We're gonna let Jay give you his spoilers before we get into some of these questions. But we're gonna let Jay give you his spoiler for next week, and I'm gonna give you what I think about it, and then we'll move on. But I'm not gonna make the audience wait. So Jay, go ahead and tell us what you saw in that little sneak peek.
So, it was more about the conversation that was done on the couch, and this could just me reading into it too much. But they were talking about, putting contact lens in for the walkers, when you play them. And one of the guests on the show, if you guys don't want spoilers, go ahead and tune out now and check back later. But it had Sam Underwood, who plays Jake Otto, and it had Mercedes Mason, who plays Ophelia. Which Mercedes is great on the couch. I thought she was an awesome person.
She is.
Different than her character. It's just almost like off-putting.
One thing to interrupt. I just want to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Quarantine Terminal. That was her coming out party. Her first zombie film. That's Quarantine 2, and they're on a plane. Go ahead, Jay.
So, and my wife, I talked to her about this, and she said I might be reading too much into it. But Mercedes Mason, okay, so Sam Underwood plays Jake Otto, talks about how he didn't actually put the lens in, that they just did CGI for his eyes to make it look like they're walker eyes. And then they're talking about, the process of being changed into a walker, and Mercedes Mason talks about the person who does it, how they get these big fat fingers, and they shove them into your eye, and there's a sandstorm you can't see for 4 days afterwards. Now, I could be reading too much into it. This could be someone telling her about their experience, or maybe this is her own experience. Maybe she gets bit, and maybe Ophelia turns into a walker before Salazar can find her. And what would that do to Salazar?
What did we say last week? I said Salazar's going to get there. He's going to be pissed off because Ophelia's dead, and he's going to rain hell on the reservation.
Yeah. And that just kind
of I think it plays right into it, and I totally agree. I caught that too. I told a couple of people that, and they looked at me and they said the exact same thing. They said, hey, look, I know you think you know everything about, zombie, whatever, but that just doesn't make any sense. I say sometimes they slip up without even noticing that they slip up. And maybe what Jay you said was right. Maybe they were talking about a different experience, but why would she descriptively say something like that? It's almost like what almost like what Maggie Lauren Cohen said about the season finale of season 6. She said it was the most cliffhangery episode ever. Why would you say that?
Yeah, right. Oh, that's what somebody else said.
So
yeah.
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 And it's just like caught up in it, and they get so caught up in something that relates to an experience that they have, that they openly talk about it. So same thing with Dale, and when he talked about his death scene before the episode came out. Same thing with them releasing the cover of the season 2 for The Walking Dead, and they actually showed the back and it said Shane's last episode, and it wasn't even the season finale of the season 2. So they actually spoiled Shane's death by showing the cover of their season 2 special Blu-ray DVD pack, and it said John Bernthal's last episode. So it's like sometimes they spoil things themselves. Maybe Jay and I are both looking into this too much, but it falls into play of what I would love to happen. You got Salazar thinking he's going to reunite with his daughter. What happens if he comes, and they almost gave you a tease when Madison and Travis, when they got split up, and Madison thought that she's going to reunite with Travis, and she just finds out he fell out of a goddamn helicopter and died. So what happens if Salazar comes and he makes this great deal with Madison and Walker and Strand, and he says, I'm giving you water, and he comes and finds out his daughter died because of an asshole named Troy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that would be great. That was a great catch there. I did catch that too, and I definitely said keep an eye on Ophelia. She's a strong character, but I could see them giving her the axe. She's coming upon a lot of different projects. She's going to be a very big star. She's a very great actress. I've liked her since, like I said, Quarantine 2, Mercedes Mason. I've liked her since then. I thought that she did a great job, and then when I saw that she was on Fear the Walking Dead, I was so happy that they recycled a zombie veteran for this part. So
and she's gonna be around, so.
Yeah. So and then again, like Jay just said, you gotta expect these people, they have lives outside of The Walking Dead, and they procreate. So so this would be a perfect time to kill off her character. And what a brain fart that was, but hey, that's what people catch. A lot of good questions this week. I picked the best ones. One question that stands out would be, and Jay kind of touched upon this, of why Nick picked Troy over Jake. So the question was, what's the affinity that the survivors, we're going to call them survivors, anybody who's part of Madison's original group is called the survivors in the show. Mm-hmm. What's the affinity they have with Troy? Because it seems that not only is Madison, somehow attached to Troy, but so is Nick. Correct. Madison has an affection for Troy in a motherly way, and vice versa. Nick looks at Troy as his mirror image, as Jay said. Like, this is my relationship with my mom played out in front of me. You understand what I'm saying? So he has the chance to actually step back and see how much of an ass he was to his mother, and how much she cared and did for him, even though he was a dickhead, how much she defended him throughout him being a drug addict, a recovering drug addict, a runaway, whatnot. He gets to step back and see Madison play out being his mother with Troy. It's a really artistic thing if you really think about it. He gets to actually see himself in his life, just like Jay said, he kind of sees a lot of himself in Troy, but he gets to see his mom's relationship with himself through another person. So, that plays a part of who Nick is, how he becomes one with the walkers. I wish they would go back to this sooner or later, where he walks with the walkers and stuff like that. but he can see the walkers for what they are when he walks with them. He can see this relationship between Madison and Troy for what it's worth, because it was the relationship he has with his mother for all these years. He finally gets to see, hey man, that's me. Hey man, that's how my mom treats me when I'm, on a binge or I'm, on withdrawals. This is what my mom would say to me. So it's a really artistic thing, but it's also showing you that, Nick has that unique opportunity to actually, think about yourselves. If you can watch somebody, you care about, treat a person the same exact way that they would treat you when you fucked up all the time, and you got to see that firsthand, what would you do? How would you react to it? And it's like a preservation of, Nick trying to keep that going, trying to keep Troy alive, trying to be on his side, because he too is an enabler. He's like his mother. He too understands now why his mom defended him so much, and it actually has, he's actually absorbed some of that, and that's why he's choosing Troy over Jake in that sense, because he's becoming, he's a chameleon. He's blending. He's becoming what his mom was to him for Troy. It's organic in that nature too. So hopefully that answers your question. That's why they both have such, they've taken Troy in and stuff like the ugly stepchild. It's not. They both have taken Troy in because he's the mirror image of Nick. So, so, how
do you think Alicia's gonna handle Jake being killed?
That's the wild card there. And I think that when Jake, brought it to Alicia's attention, hey, am I am I an ally or am I a lover? It made Alicia think. Her mother told her in the beginning, we have to get into these guys' good graces because we got to take this reservation over. The way we do this is through Jeremiah, Troy, and Jake. Now, Alicia started off, trying to get in his good graces, and then she's formed a relationship, but she's so conflicted. She's looking at the greater good, and she actually had a moment where when Jake said that to her, she actually was like, you really are just an ally, man. I don't see it. But when he made that statement, and when the news comes back that he dies, she's going to look at it as saying, why would you keep this asshole alive and let him die?
Yeah, because they're making their way back to
the
complex
exactly
there, and no one's going to handle Troy coming back and Jake not coming back.
I could see the Native Americans at this point being so pissed off, that this has happened, that they looking, they're going to blame Troy. And I could see actually Alicia stepping up and killing Troy in that sense as a revenge to Pete and to further proclaim herself as the leader. So that's my prediction there. I think Alicia will be the one to pull the trigger there or kill Troy. I also think if Ophelia dies, I think that will further make Alicia kill Troy, because he would be responsible for that. Killing Ophelia and Jake, that's a lot. So we'll see. But that was a great question. Hopefully it was a great answer, because I looked at that too, and I really, like Jay said earlier, and I bit my tongue. But he sees himself, but he also sees his mother and his relationship play out in front of his eyes, which is very, very, very artsy and a very good way of writing that. So
it's a glass shatter. It's no one really gets a chance to see themselves from like a third person view. Well, in this case, Nick is
correct. And I had to write my questions on a manila folder because my wife moved all my all my note paper somewhere, and I can't find the shit, so I had to write it. Couple of other questions here. What happened to the rumored female protagonist for season 3? Several sites stated that there was going to be a female, antagonist,
yeah,
which would rival Negan this upcoming season, which is season 3. I've yet to see a female antagonist other than Madison, possibly Ophelia, and the lady at the dam. None of these, I would say, rival Negan. Correct. I heard the same rumor before the season started that they were going to have a badass female antagonist, but you gotta think about it this way. Negan wasn't shown until episode 16, season 6. Um, there's still some time to bring upon a female antagonist. Maybe it is the lady from the dam. Maybe she's just, she turns into a big bitch and tries to, kill everybody because they took advantage of her for water. Or it could be those people that almost killed Walker when they were looking for water in the first place. We don't know. I don't know. I did hear that rumor. I'm gonna say maybe that was scrapped. Maybe the antagonist is Troy, and they just covered it up and just wanted you to think there was gonna be a female, but they made this kind of like crazy psychopath antagonist in Troy. So maybe Troy and Jeremiah took the place of that. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, maybe it could have been Strand's lover's mother. Maybe they're thinking about doing something with her at one point.
Yeah.
Having her survive the fire or something like that, hunting down the group.
Yep.
Yeah, I see potential in some of the people, like the same names you mentioned, but I don't see.
Yeah, I don't see it. No, not Negan. Not even close. I don't even see governor level. I honestly don't. I think I would see Shane level, maybe in Ophelia, and maybe in Alicia, maybe in Madison, but I don't think it goes higher than that. I don't think they're as diabolical as a Negan or a governor. So I did hear that rumor. The answer is it looked to have just been a rumor, or it looked to have gotten scrapped before the season started. So good question, good observation there. Another great question here, because of Jay playing the Walking Dead Telltale game as me. Here goes a great question, and I would love it. Do you think they would make a Telltale Fear the Walking Dead? That's a great question. They can do it, but remember, the Telltale game is based upon the comic.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not based upon the television show. It would be a great idea to make a Telltale Fear the Walking Dead and create another character in this universe. I would definitely play it, but I think that the next Telltale game will be the last. So season 4, I think it will be the last season that they have this. Maybe they start new, and maybe they do start with Fear and kind of like a spin-off of that. But I'm gonna say the answer would be, it'd be great, but I don't think that they're gonna do it.
I agree. Yeah, the Telltale has so many games out there. They have Minecraft, Batman, Game of Thrones,
The Wolf Among Us.
Yep. And obviously The Walking Dead. So I'm pretty sure the development team's pretty busy as is. Like James said, it's based off the comics. The Michonne one as well. Although I think they stick with the comic storyline. They could always go back and they could do like Negan Beginning. One.
I would love that.
Imagine that playing as Negan from the beginning.
Jesus Christ.
Or Governor, give him
that would be good too. Yep, that would be good too.
There's so many different possibilities they could throw in there.
Correct. So the short answer to that is be great, but I'm sure that they have better ideas than Fear, and I would say no because it's not related to the comics. So that was a good question there, and it was a good tie-in to what Jay has done, playing as me in the Telltale game Walking Dead. Check that out. That was a good little segment that he did there, and I hope it continues. I like, again, I'm playing Nick in this part. I get to see somebody pretend to be me. So
might do it Wednesday. I don't think we have anything booked for Wednesday yet. So if I'm free, I might do another session there.
I think that would be great, and I definitely will watch it. Another great question is for both Jay and myself. I'm going to pose it to Jay as well. What are other good scary movies or good scary television shows that you are watching now other than The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead? I assume it would be iZombie, or I don't even know what that show. I didn't write that down right. I guess it's the Z, the other zombie show that's out there.
No, where was he? What is it?
I didn't write it down right. I wrote down something else. I was rushing on in the little folder. I didn't write it down right. So
in the chat says The Strain. That's a good one. That's good.
Strain.
Yeah.
I watched a couple of episodes. Yes, I would continue that. So other good scary movies that I'm watching now. I just saw a movie called Heidi. That's a great scary movie. It's first person view. So it's almost like Paranormal Activity, and they find a haunted doll, and it just it's my type of movie. The doll kills everybody. You can't survive this doll. You can't burn it. You can't drown it in a lake. You can't do anything to it. It keeps coming back, and it just keeps killing people. And it's a really good movie. It's based upon people are filming the experience with the doll, so it's first person view. I like that. I like those kind of movies. I just finished watching that. It's a really good movie. And then two other movies that I've been watching lately are The Grudge 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of on that kick where I'm watching the villain kill everybody, because those are my type of movies. So I'm watching The Grudge 1 and 2, and tell you what, they will always be two of my favorite non-zombie movies, because again, Kayako is just a badass, and she just you can't stop her. It's a curse. There's no way to win. And then the good scary show that I'm watching, what I did was I purchased the show on PlayStation Network. Is Paranormal Witness. So I have like 5 seasons of that, and I just watch them. At night. If you want to give yourself a good scare, you just watch those type of episodes, and you'll give yourself a decent scare because of the way they reenact and the music, the acoustics, and all other stuff that they put into that show is very well done. So my suggestion is look up the old episodes of Paranormal Witness, look at Grudge 1 and 2, and then for a newer movie, Heidi. There you go. Jay?
I'd love to go out there and see it. I know chat there. I was mentioning it, yeah.
A coworker of mine saw it, and she said that they had all the elements of the first movie. So you got your paper boat floating down the stream with the child chasing it, and amongst other things that you would see in the original. So I kind of want to see that too, because I love the original It. I actually read that 7 billion page book by Stephen King, and I love that too. So, that's a good point. That, and I guess Friend Request is another one that's out, and that has
Alicia in there, yeah.
So I definitely want to check that out. The last movie that I saw that had a Walking Dead character in it was The Boy, and that was Lauren Cohen, and that movie was stupid. So I'm hoping that this movie isn't as dumb in Friend Request, but I'm going to support them, and I'm going to go watch. I'm going to go check that out.
They have Mother too in theaters. I'm not sure how psychedelic or drama or thriller it is. Like it's very vague as far as description wise in the previews and everything. It could be scary, but
yeah, I mean anything's better than The Boy, so I'll check it out. But that's just those are some of the things that James watches on most nights.
I don't get much opportunity to watch scary movies or anything. Kelsey's not a big fan. She's gotten better. We used to have to mute the
about to say, give her credit.
She's getting better. But we're into like supernatural. It's not really scary, but it's got that at least a theme in there.
Yeah, don't watch Heidi with Kelsey. That's all I can say. Just stay away from that movie 100%. If that, you'll be up plenty of nights if she watches that movie. I tell you that right now.
See, I like what scared me most recently is the first Paranormal Activity. Recently, I'm probably 10 years old.
That's kind of like. That's how Heidi is. It's filmed just like Paranormal Activity. It's the same concept, except for it's a haunted doll. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I don't like my in-laws. They collect dolls and stuff, and they always ask my wife if she's gonna take the dolls if they die. Don't bring them shits in the house. No, don't bring any goddamn dolls in this house. I don't want them things. Sell them on eBay. Get rid of them. I don't want any of
You
them.
know who owned them? What part of their souls in there?
Yeah,
Stranger Things too. That's a good one.
Stranger Things. Correct. That's on Netflix.
Yes, yes.
So that's a good show as well. Um, is it called Zombie Nation? What's the one I
Z
can't?
Nation.
Z Nation. That's the one that
Yeah.
that people thought that I would watch. I watched a couple. I think that I'm so dedicated to The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead. If I watch another zombie show like iZombie, I try to watch it, and the strain is actually interesting. I will say that. But iZombie and Z Nation, I can't follow them because it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is not The Walking Dead. It's hard.
They don't have like the
Yeah.
production quality. They don't have the same
Yeah.
rule set. Same universe. It's tough.
Yeah. It is. It's hard to kind of change my stripes there, but I have watched a couple of those episodes. It is what it is. I don't watch it too much. But definitely, if you want to scare yourself, and most scary movies now aren't that good. Heidi is definitely on top of my list. If I'm telling you, then it's got to be good. And then Paranormal Witness. I challenge you to watch that movie at night by yourself. Just not movie, but I challenge you to watch 4 of those shows in a row by yourself. Just watch them. And if you're not scared of that, I mean, it'll creep you out. You don't have to necessarily.
Maybe if there's enough pull for it, I can always play some scary ass games in the dark over here.
There you go.
And you can all scream together as I freak out. I'm telling you, man, those jump scares in some of those games.
Yeah.
A girl, it doesn't even matter.
Silent Hill 1 and 2. Those stick out as very good scary games, as well as Resident Evil, and then damn, I'm just not good to Dead Space. The Dead Space games are incredible.
Yeah.
So
There's some creepy ones. I'll do a list. Outlast from the chat. Yep. And
correct.
It's a VR game, and it's like it's a little. I think it came. I'm not sure. I think it's a little girl. I think it's called something like Play with something, like Play with Amy or whatever her name is.
Yeah, and it's jump scare.
Oh god.
Yeah, that'll get you. That'll get you in your ass if you don't like jump scares, and that's not for you. But if you want a good jump scare game, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think another YouTuber, I don't know if I'll get in trouble saying his name, but Dashi used to do streams, and he used to stream playing those VR games with jump scares. He's famous for that. I watch him all the time and watch him play those jump scare games. So those are good too.
Yeah. Like I said, you put the VR headset on, forget about it. It's just like I don't want to do this. I'm getting freaked out just thinking about it. All right. What's the next question here?
All right, so those are the questions that I had. We have 2 more questions, and they're based upon Walking Dead season 8. We're gonna save those questions only because I wanna compile as many questions as I can before the premiere. Mm-hmm. I did give away one of the questions last week on who I thought was gonna die. I reiterate that. I think it's gonna be my favorite. I think it's Morgan's gonna be his last season on The Walking Dead. In my opinion, I hope not, but that's my prediction. That's the only question I'm going to answer before we do our premiere show or whatever. So that's the other questions. I'm not ignoring them. I will definitely get to them in future shows that have to do with Walking Dead. I'm just trying to stick to Fear as much as I can. So
yeah, you have to start thinking outside the show. As far as storylines, arcs.
Yep.
It sucks to. Look at it from that point of view, but sometimes you have to kind of use that to tell you where the show's going or where the characters are going. If they're not going anywhere, the boat's kind of full. I mean, we have Carol, Daryl, Morgan, a lot of these characters which aren't in the comics at all anymore, and if their storyline becomes stagnant, you gotta start making room for new characters.
Correct. And it's the unique thing about The Walking Dead is they took a character that wasn't in the comic in Daryl,
Mm-hmm.
and a character that wasn't in the comic in Beth, and a character that wasn't in the comic in Merle Dixon,
Yeah.
and they extended them as much as they could, and they're still extending Daryl it's like a rubber band that's stretching so much, and you don't know when it's gonna snap. But eventually, they're going to have to make that decision. Is Daryl going to take somebody from the comic's death? Or is Daryl going to be the sole survivor at the end? We don't know yet. Another big question that I had, I cannot talk about this because my buddy Jay has not caught himself up with the comics. I refuse to spoil the comics for Jay. He needs to get his ass together and read the issues so he can catch up so we can talk about this.
But tonight.
There you go. He needs to get his ass together. Okay, that's my answer. Jay needs to get his shit together and catch up because I cannot discuss. I don't want to spoil it for him. I know there might be people that are in the chat room that have caught up and know exactly what's happened in the comics, but I can't answer those questions.
Mm-hmm.
Not ignoring you. I'm not going to answer those questions until he gets it together and catches up because he's going to be impressed on what happens.
Just the chairman did mention spinoff. And that's an option, a spinoff, or even just kind of writing off the characters. That doesn't have to necessarily be a death scene. Daryl can always ride his bike. There can be conflict there where he says, I'm out. They get separated. Something happens. Boom. That's they're quote unquote killed off for now. But it's not. You're not hurting. The fans aren't going to riot, at least, and there's still always hope that they'll come back. But at least for now, it'll freeze up the storyline for new characters.
Well, and that's a great point by the person in the chat room that posed that. They've done it with Breaking Bad, where even if a character is dead, they can go back and they can make a completely whole new show. I mean, Better Call Saul or Gotta Call Saul, Better Call Saul. I'm sorry, Better Call Saul. The only living character in that show that still would be alive in the Breaking Bad world is Saul Goodman. Mike Ehrmantraut is dead. Tuco Salamanca is dead. Hector Salamanca is dead. The Salamanca twins are dead. Obviously Walter White is dead. But they've made 3 seasons out of this show with a bunch of dead people. So it's like if they do kill off a favorite character, like they killed off Merle, and let's say they do kill off Daryl Dixon, maybe they can have a spinoff and have the Merle brothers, you know what I'm saying? Or they can have a spinoff of the governor and make up for that terrible storyline they gave them. So that's a great point, and AMC is known for doing this, and it actually would work. So who knows? Actually, to be honest with you, Fear the Walking Dead is a prequel to The Walking Dead. So they've done that as well. So they've technically done a spinoff just in a different part of the United States. So again, that's a great point, and I would love to see it. Obviously, I like Sasha's character, but I wouldn't want to see a spinoff of her. I wouldn't want to see a spinoff of Beth. So, you have to make
go back to the hospital. That's where they'll go.
There you go. More Jocelyn moments for you there. I don't even want to go back to the hospital. That was the worst goddamn thing they did. That was horrible. Oh man, it's painful. God. But great, man. I mean, good show. Back next week, and then I think we're gonna have a double show for the finale. So 2 more weeks, and then season 8 is right around the corner, October 22nd. I'm personally looking forward to this season because it's a redemption season for The Walking Dead. And I'll be the first to admit that Walking Dead season 7 was the worst season other than season 3. So it has a lot to prove.
If
and
I had
I
to
think
choose
that
which one to watch, though, I'd rewatch season 3.
I agree. Season 7 was so... I try to watch it. You know how I do, and especially that it's on Netflix now. I just skip to the better episodes. Like, I try my hardest. Like, I try to watch the Eugene standalone episode and the Oceanside story. And, I mean, even even when we first met the Kingdom characters, I was just like, wow, this fucking sucks. What the hell?
Yeah.
I was just, I couldn't rewatch the whole thing. Like, I got distracted and found other things to do. I got a glass of fucking Gatorade, drank that, started eating food, forgot that it was on. Yeah, it's like, what's going on here? So it's just like, season 8 is a redemption. It's a redeeming season coming up, in my opinion, and I'm looking forward to it, man. See what happens. Non-stop action is what Gimple has promised us. Breakneck pace. Let's see if he.
Well, the good news is you said the premiere is the 22nd.
Yes.
That means that I'll be able to tell the crew and the cast at Walker Stalker Con that next weekend that whether or not we liked it or not.
Ah. All right. Well, some of us are luckier than others, and some of us are envious of that. So you know what? I'll be there in spirit again.
No problem, man.
All right, man. Good show.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for tuning in, both on Twitch, YouTube, and thanks everybody for the questions. We love them. Keep them coming.
Definitely.
Other than that, James, anything else before we close out?
I am looking forward to next week and the conclusion of this food pantry storyline. I think it's going to get better, and then of course we have we get to look forward to the double episodes for the finale. So I'm really looking forward to these final 3 episodes of a strong season, and I hope they finish strong. So way to go, Fear the Walking Dead. Way to go.
Yes, I think we're just about at the apex of the conflict here, and everything's going to kind of definitely pick up pace towards this this finale coming up here soon.
Yes.
So tune in next time Sundays for Fear the Walking Dead, and tune in the Monday afterwards and watch us. Once again, if you guys have any questions, comments, leave them down below. Send us context on echo5studios.com. Leave them in the YouTube video. Leave them in our Twitch channel, our Twitter channel, basically anywhere. We'll find them. Or if you work with James, just go ahead and write them down for him and leave them on his desk.
It's funny because before we get off, it's weird because it'll be, I'll either get emails about the show, or I'll get some of my older coworkers, like old coworkers I used to work with. They will literally call me, and it's almost like I have to almost like reenact this show to them. It's like, go on fucking YouTube and watch the show. I had like an hour-long conversation. It's like, wait a second. Why don't you watch this? Why are you asking me about the show? Like, what do you have, a rotary phone? Or you got like one of those cordless where you can't pull up the internet? Like, come on. Everybody has, some sort of computer at home. Like, what? So it's strange, but I entertain people, I guess. But keep the questions coming. Definitely watch the show, and I always do a plug for Jay. Check out his website. Plenty of other shows. If you don't like zombies, and obviously if you're watching this show and don't like zombies, I don't know what the hell is wrong with you. But there's other things that you can check out, and they're very good shows. I've checked out every single show that they've had, because I'm part of Echo 5 Studios. I'm part of the website, so I want to support everybody who does, who takes the time to have shows, and of course Jay for posting those shows. So I watch, usually listen because I'm at work, but I listen, I watch, and it's entertainment, man. It's just a lot of people, dedicate. We do it for charity, so check it out, check us out, and support Jay and our website.
Yeah,
that's all.
Everything we do is for charity. We have a lot of fun doing it, obviously, and hope you guys do as well. Other than that, just a quick statement. I know some issues going on in the NFL, but sometimes you need to kneel in order to stand up for what's right. And it's tough when you feel like you're being oppressed by the system, especially when it comes from the very top of that system.
Yes.
And before people make comments about that, maybe you should understand why they chose to kneel and start there.
Yes. Please do. And it becomes, I was in the doctor's office the other day. It's funny. I was in the doctor's office the other day, and it was this foreign couple in the doctor's office from Germany, and there was a guy who has seen this couple in Lake George, and they were talking, and the guy was sitting next to him, and he started talking to the people next to him. He said, I took pictures of you in Lake George. And they had their, they were talking, and the German couple had insurance from a different country, and were having a hard time at the front desk. And when they sat back down, the guy had to say, well, that's why Trump is good, because he's repelling Obamacare, and started talking about all the stuff that he didn't like. And I don't care who you support, but you got to think about what you say to people. So he said this to the German couple that he took their pictures, and he said, yeah, everybody hates him. And the German couple turns and goes, hey, because everybody thinks he's a moron. That's how we feel in Germany. I almost fucking fell on the floor. So it's just like, this guy thought that he was going to have support, and it was just like, they don't like him. So it's just like, and he kind of like shed light on what he said in Twitter, like he was trying to explain to them about the kneeling and all this other stuff, as if he was part of the military. He's not. And it's just like, they looked at him like he had two heads. And it's just like, we have so many other issues going on that the leader of the country really shouldn't be doing this, in our opinion. He should really focus on, you're dividing the country even more with sports. And you could look at it as us being liberal, or you could say, oh, this is liberal media and all this other stuff. No, it's not. It's him tweeting. We're going by what he's tweeting. So it's not, the liberal media. It's not, alt-right. It's basically what he's tweeting and how he's handling these situations that's got everybody in uproar. And again, Jay said you have to look at the reason why people are doing the things that they are doing, and the oppression that some people have felt. Mm-hmm. So before you look at that, and Jay's a military man, you have to think about what the military, if you're going to support people, if you're going to support freedom of speech and protest and whatever, fine. If you're going to say that these people have a right to do stuff which denounces other races, denounces other people, and stands up for statues that, I get it, history is history, but if you're gonna say that this is okay, then kneeling, you can't, you have to have some sort of common sense about you.
So you can't be a hypocrite. You can't say one thing, but yeah. And that's one thing I always try to harp on, like whenever I make my decisions on things, is logic and consistency. Consistency.
And it's not consistent. And I don't care if people say whatever. People could say whatever. Oh, you're being gassed by this and gassed. No, it's consistency. Be consistent in what you say. And if you tweet something, I can't take that. I'm not taking something off of Fox News, or I'm not taking something off of CNN. I'm taking it directly from these goddamn tweets. That's him. So it's just
right from the horse's mouth. They don't need to translate it for me. I can read it.
It's not. And we're supposed to stand united, and we're more divided in this country than we've ever been. And some people think that's okay. It's not. So let's just get on the same page as people. I agree with Jay. That's why we do this kind of stuff, because we want to help other people. That's our charity. It doesn't matter who you are. We're not gonna treat you a certain way, and we just appreciate all the support and that we get. And of course, we're humans too, so we have our opinions about things, but we're consistent. Keep it.
Well, maybe not when it comes to Fear the Walking Dead and stuff like that, but
that's true.
Consistent when it does come to serious matters.
That's true.
But in the end, like Kelsey just said, be kind to each other, love each other.
Yes. There you go.
And we're all humans here.
Correct. All right, man. Great show. I'm ready for next week, bro.
Same here, man. Thanks so much for watching, and you guys have a good night. All right.
Good night, everybody.